Rarely do we witness a fall from grace so quick, so complete, that someone goes from being beloved to a con man in the eyes of the public overnight. And from the outside looking in, it's strange because every single thing that person has ever said or done is suddenly cast in a new, much more sinister light. The only comparison I can really think of is Jared Fogle from Subway. I mean, all those times he took his pants off and paraded them in front of the children, how did we not see this as a sign? It's like looking at one of those white and gold dress optical illusions. Suddenly you see it as, black and blue. And you wonder, with this sudden shift, it's so quick that you're like, how did I ever see it any differently? And that's what we're talking about today, but with a scam artist, Alex Machinski, because he's not in trouble for the same reasons Jared Fogle was, but he did screw over a lot of people he shouldn't. Now, you may know Alex Machinski because we've talked about him on this program. He's the former CEO of Celsius, and I'm not going to cover everything he did because we already have talked about it extensively. However, there's a lot of new news to cover. For one, Alex Machinski stepped down as the CEO. For two, we found out they owed billions of dollars more than we thought they did. 3, we know the customer funds are still frozen, but the real new evidence coming out that, in my view, takes Alex Machinski from being a slick salesman who, basically overpromised to being a full-blown criminal who should be in jail, it just recently happened. Although I need to make a disclaimer that this is, of course, my opinion that he's a criminal. He has not been formally charged, although I think a lot of you will share my view once I get through explaining this. Here's how it happened. 4 days ago, we got a report from the Financial Times, a scoop that Alex Machinski may have withdrawn $10 million off Celsius ahead of freezing customer accounts and ahead of the bankruptcy. This obviously would be very significant and very suspicious, but of course, I wanted to wait until this was confirmed by formal bankruptcy documents, and it was. In bankruptcy court, Celsius was required to disclose what their executives did leading up to bankruptcy. And what we found is that in the month of May, the month before they froze withdrawals and declared bankruptcy, Alex Machinski and other key executives in Celsius withdrew nearly $17 million from this platform. Alex himself withdrew $10 million of that. Chrissy, his wife, withdrew $2 million. Remember, she's the one who said, unbankrupt yourself, and sold shirts to that effect, which is a level of irony that I simply do not have the time to unpack right now. But suffice to say, other executives also withdrew another $5 million. Now, okay, why is this criminal? Why can't they withdraw all this money from their own platform? Well, think about it. Celsius's whole problem was that it was suffering from a bank run. Too many people were withdrawing too fast, and instead of acting as the captain going down with the ship, Alex Machinski instead basically did the analogy equivalent of jumping in a lifeboat. But what's worse, he actually did this while deliberately lying to the people on the boat and told them that everything's fine in order to ensure his own safety and ensure that he had a lifeboat to even get on. Because, as the analogy goes, lifeboats were in short supply. They didn't have the money. But let's dig deeper than that, because if we look at the bankruptcy filings, we can get an entire history of Alex Machinski's transactions, which is important to prove motive. After all, if he was always withdrawing funds, it wouldn't be anything out of the ordinary. But as you can see on this fourth column, which is type, incoming or outgoing from Celsius, Machinski's pattern was that he only really sent money to Celsius and did keep most of his money there on platform, which is consistent through 2021 and early 2022 until March 17th, when Machinski starts his first outgoing withdrawals from the platform. Now, at first, it's only $100,000. However, this pattern drastically changes once again in May after the Luna crash, when the markets are in turmoil and Celsius realizes they're insolvent. Now, to understand the true scumbaggery of this whole thing, let me show you what Alex was saying publicly before I show you what he was doing privately.
And I continue to hodl. It's not like I've changed my position. I didn't sell my Bitcoin. I didn't sell my Ethereum. It's not like one of us is smarter than everybody else and they're sitting on the sidelines while the rest of us are taking a beating.
Now look, there is a lot here to unpack, from the phone number on screen 1866 hodl now, to his shirt saying that banks are not your friends, to his incredibly strong claim that he's not secretly selling. In fact, he's buying. He's bullish, right? You should be bullish too. All of this, to a reasonable investor, conveys the idea that we're all in this together. This is some choppy water, but we're going to get through it, right? Don't head for the life rafts. It's fine. There's no iceberg ahead. Now, with that in mind, I want you to now look at what he was doing a day after this on May 14th. He was privately withdrawing nearly all his crypto from the platform, $10 million in Bitcoin, USDC, and Ethereum. He jumped on the lifeboat and left. This honestly borderlines on the psychopathic or sociopathic. I do not know how you can sit on stage and speak to a community of your investors, of your customers, and just dead lie to them and do the opposite behind the scenes. But maybe some of you think, well, that was a day later. Maybe he changed his mind just 24 hours later. But there's actually proof that no, that's not true. He was deliberately lying, because we're going to look at what Alex said only a few days after jumping ship, right? So we're looking at before he jumped ship and after. This is from May 20th, and it is staggering.
Keep thinking that, okay, we say one thing and we do something else. We all still have most of our coins, right? We didn't sell, we didn't bail out, we didn't go and look for another job. We're in it for the long term. As Nook said, we've done several of these winters, and we're still going to be here in several years from now.
I don't know what to say. I'm blown away. Alex Machinski is saying in black and white that, we're not saying one thing and doing another. We're doing exactly what we want you to do. We're hodling, right? We're not bailing out, even though that's exactly what he actually did. This man is a master of lying through his teeth. And what this all shows is that there is strong evidence that Alex knew Celsius wasn't going to be around in several years, even though he said he thought it was. Because if you thought your company was going to be around in 7 years or several years, the last thing you would do is withdraw, because Celsius's entire problem, remember, is immediate liquidity. They didn't have enough money on hand. So if Alex truly thought and believed what he said he did, which is that it was going to last several years, the last thing you would do is withdraw critical funds exactly when you need them. So this fact that he was secretly withdrawing means that he knew he was lying to investors and the company was about to go under for good, and he was trying to save himself. I mean, I'm pretty sure he didn't even call 1-866 HODL now. Okay, that's bad joke. But on a serious note, this just made me so angry that I decided I wanted to help. And I wanted to use these exact transactions and transfers in order to try to correlate them to on-chain transfers and figure out where the money went, in hopes that we could maybe salvage some of it. And I'll tell you, even though I was unable to find Alex Machinski's specific wallets, I do have some good news, which is that I found his wife, Chrissy Machinski's wallets. Let me explain. I cross-referenced Chrissy Machinski's May 31st withdrawal of 2.4 million Celsius tokens against all of Celsius's hot wallets, and found that on that day, there's only one similar transaction within 10 Celsius tokens. If you trace where this went, it goes to a wallet which already is associated with Alex Machinski. Machinski literally funded it with Ethereum initially, and this is where $2.7 million worth of Celsius tokens went. Bear in mind, it's important, this is only days before they froze withdrawals, showing that they wanted to get money off platform. And although it hasn't been sold yet, it can be sold at any time. And the reason I'm sharing this wallet publicly is I want to recommend that this is basically claimed by the bankruptcy court or seized, because it's very likely that it will be sold by the Machinskis with upcoming pressure increasing. Now, I will link this wallet in the description so it can be publicly watched and tracked by law enforcement or just anyone who's interested. I will also add the Machinski wallets that I've publicly labeled along with several others. I wish nothing but the best for the victims out there. If you enjoy high effort investigations like this, please understand I put a lot of my time into this, so pumping the stock is very much appreciated. If you want to catch up with the whole Celsius saga, you can do so here. But either way, thanks for watching, and all the best to all of you except for Alex and Chrissy Machinski.